Now, residents in Misamis Occidental are still reeling from the impact of heavy flooding over the weekend. Let's get an update on the ground from Jem Avancenia. She's joining us from Misamis City. Jem, kamusta naman dyan?
Yes, Danny, many areas here in Misamis Occidental were caught off guard by the strong flash flood this Christmas weekend. What's worse is that some will be welcoming the New Year homeless.
Philippine Coast Guard members were seen helping residents cross waist-deep floods in the town of Clarin in Misamis Occidental. Some of them rode a broken refrigerator to evacuate faster. This is the same scenario in other nearby towns. After the flood subsided, residents in Oroqueta were greeted with damaged houses, wrecked belongings, and toppled electric posts and trees. Some can't help but cry over what they experienced on Christmas Day.
Ang tubig kalit magdasmag na mo. Wa mi maghawid. Wala mi maghawid kaming mga igsoon, mamatay mi sa kakusog sa tubig. Lapas ang tubig sa atop namo. Wa mi nakuha bisag isang.
Aside from the lack of water, there is also no electricity in some areas. Establishments also remain closed after being submerged in thick mud. Fuel supply is also a problem for some motorists, as some gasoline stations were affected by flooding. This resulted to long queues of motorists wanting to gas up in stations not submerged in floods.
Kayo, wala na dyan nangabre.
Wala na po yung nagabaligya.
Wala na kay. Hurot man tanan jud. Wala na yung nangabilin. Manang lisod kayo may mangita.
Some residents camp on the side of roads to ask for alms.
Ay, nangingi kami na. Nagkala-ulam. Wala kaming bahay na.
In evacuation centers, residents had to sleep on boxes and use chairs as dividers. Misamis Occidental Governor Henry Ominal admits they were caught off guard by the widespread flooding.
So may mga ulan noon but not this hindi ganito ka yung amount of rainfall was very unusual, no, mataas. And then may mga plus floods kami noon caused by the drainage problem of kasi when that other Layawan River nag-increase yung height, so nag-overflow. So, unexpected namin yan.
Based on the latest NDRRMC report, 13 are reported dead while 23 are missing following the flooding and heavy rain on Christmas Day. Search and rescue operations were able to resume in some provinces after the weather improved.
Danny, the province is still experiencing light to moderate rains as of this time. Thus, authorities advise residents to remain in their assigned evacuation areas for their own safety. Danny?
Okay, thank you so much for those updates. That was, of course, Jem Avancenia reporting to us live from Misamis City. And to give us an update on how rescue and disaster response operations are going, we have with us on the line Mr. Diego Agustin Mariano, Information Officer for the NDRRMC. Good evening, sir. Sir, kamusta po ang rescue and relief efforts? Are there problems on the ground? We are still seeing quite a difficult situation over there.
Una po, magandang gabi po sa ating mga tagapanood. Ang research and rescue efforts po natin is patuloy po na umuusad po. Simula pa lang po nang tumama yung shear line, patuloy po yung search and rescue efforts po natin, lalong-lalo na po sa ating mga missing. Ang ating kawani from Philippine Coast Guard, nagkakandak po ng search and rescue efforts, lalo na po dyan sa may coastal area since karamihan po ng ating mga missing ay mga fishermen po. Coast Guard po ang nangunguna po sa search and rescue efforts dyan po sa may coastal areas ng affected regions po.
Sir, meron pa bang mga areas na hanggang ngayon isolated pa?
As of sa mga reports po na pumasok, wala po kaming reports of isolated areas. Pero kung meron pa man po, patuloy po ang ating clearing operations para mapuntahan po itong mga isolated areas para mabigyan po sila ng tulong at ma-rescue kung kinakailangan po.
Okay, salamat sir. And also we are hearing reports from Mindoro na apektuhan din daw po doon. Kamusta ang inyong response doon, sir?
Opo, ang response naman po natin is uniform naman po ito para sa lahat. So wala po tayong pinipili na pagtulong. So kung ano po natatanggap po ng ibang apektuhan, ganun din po natatanggap ng katulad niya po sa Mindoro. Ang tulong po ay pinangungunahan po ng ating mga LGUs sa pamumuno po ng kanya-kanya mga local chief executives. Kasama din po ang pagtulong ang national government. Diyan po ay buhat po ng DSWD at ng NDRRMC po. So tuloy-tuloy po ang pagtulong, lalo na dyan din po sa Mindoro area po.
Okay, salamat po for your time and efforts, Diego Mariano, NDRRMC Information Officer.
And let's now check in on the weather forecast for the remaining days of 2022 with Francis Orcio of Panahon TV now joining us live via Zoom. Magandang gabi, Francis, and welcome to the big story.
Good evening, Ed.
Good evening, Francis. Well, Francis, sa totoo lang, itong shear line medyo mahiwaga sa maraming tao eh. But as far as you can tell ba, how long is this going to last? And is the worst over as far as the shear line is concerned?
So, Ed, the shear line that is currently one of the dominant weather systems in the country will be likely to continue to bring rains in the coming days. As a matter of fact, earlier at 2 p.m., due to the effects of the shear line, a low-pressure area or LPA was developed inside the Philippine Area of Responsibility. And based on all available data from PAGASA, as of 3 p.m. earlier, the location of LPA is at 735 kilometers east of Siargao City, Siargao del Norte.
Okay. Well, Francis, I'm looking at the graphic right now, that the one we're showing. I don't know, parang it appears like the shear line has moved north. Am I reading this right?
Ed, based on the graphic that you are seeing right now, the shear line, ang pinakadominante nito ay dito sa may silangang bahagi ng Kabisayaan at Mindanao, Ed.
Okay, so it still remains where it was the other day.
Yes, Ed.
Okay. Are we expecting other weather disturbances that may trigger more rains in the coming weeks?
Yes, Ed, no, and as what I said earlier, the dominant weather system that will cause rains in different areas of the country is this low-pressure area that was developed earlier due to the shear line. So for our kababayans, most especially in Palawan, Visayas, Zamboanga Peninsula, and northern Mindanao, including Caraga and Davao region, expect cloudy skies with scattered rain showers and thunderstorms. And talking about this low-pressure area, PAGASA said that they are not ruling out the possibility that this may develop into a tropical cyclone. So they will continue to monitor this LPA.
Okay, as far as that LPA is concerned, one last question. Do we have any timetable for that in watching that LPA?
Well, according to PAGASA, Ed, wala pa sila talagang complete data on gaano talaga yung posibilidad na ma-develop ito into a tropical cyclone. But again, they will continue to monitor this low-pressure area.
Okay, maraming salamat. Francis Orcio of Panahon TV.